8 of the biggest blunders ever made in human history. 1. Turkmenistan's door to hell. The Gates of Hell crater was created in 1971 when a Soviet drilling rig accidentally punched into a massive underground natural gas cavern, causing the ground to collapse and the entire drilling rig to fall in. Fearing that the hole would lead to the release of poisonous gases, the Soviets set the hole alight, figuring it would stop burning within a few weeks. Decades later, and the fiery pit is still going strong. 2. Sparing the life of injured Adolf. During the Fifth Battle of Ypres, near the French village of Marcoing, 27-year-old Henry Tandy had a wounded Führer in his crosshairs during World War I. Though he had his arms pointed right at him, Tandy decided not to execute him. This one act of compassion would forever overshadow Tandy's military record. Had he taken one shot, he could have saved millions. Instead, he spared him. 3. China's worst self-inflicted environmental disaster. During Mao's China in 1958, thousands of sparrows were eliminated because they were believed to be pests. Mao thought that sparrows ate too much grain, and it seemed rational to him to do away with all the sparrows. As the sparrows decreased, locusts and other insects increased and ravaged crops in China. This led to the Great Chinese Famine, in which 20 to 45 million people lost their life. 4. Russia sold Alaska for only 2 cents an acre. Some historians regard the sale of Alaska to the US as a short-sighted blunder by Tsar Alexander II, giving up Alaska's rich natural resources, particularly its oil and gas, for $7.2 million, about $125 million in today's money. Some Russian nationalists regard the transaction as a huge mistake, and with the US deeply in debt, it could benefit from selling Alaska back to the Russians. 5. The Aral Sea crisis. Up until the third quarter of the 20th century, Aral Sea was the world's 4th largest saline lake. The Soviet government decided in the 1960s to divert the rivers feeding it in order to favor agriculture rather than supply the Aral Sea basin. The Aral Sea began to quickly shrink because of the evaporation of its now unreplenished waters. This caused the sea's eastern lobe to completely dry up for the first time in 600 years and reduced its once vast Aral Sea to almost nothing. 6. Key that could have saved the Titanic. A key could have saved the Titanic from disaster. It is thought to have fitted the locker that contained the crow's nest binoculars, vital in detecting threats to the liner lurking in the sea in the pre-sonar days of 1912. The key's owner, Second Officer David Blair, was removed from the crew at the last minute and in his haste, forgot to hand it to his replacement. Without access to the glasses, the lookouts in the crow's nest were forced to rely on their eyes and only saw the iceberg when it was too late to take action. 7. Metric mishap caused loss of NASA orbiter. NASA lost a $125 million Mars orbiter because a Lockheed Martin engineering team used English units of measurement, while the agency's team used the more conventional metric system for a key spacecraft operation. The units' mismatch prevented navigation information from transferring between the Mars Climate Orbiter spacecraft team at Lockheed Martin and NASA. The navigation mishap put an end to the mission on a day when engineers had expected to celebrate the craft's entry into Mars orbit. 8. The Hindenburg disaster of 1937. The Hindenburg, a German airship, ferried passengers across the Atlantic Ocean, reaching cruising speeds of 84 miles per hour. The airship was designed to be filled with helium gas, but because of US export restriction on helium, it was filled with hydrogen. Hydrogen is extremely flammable, and the official cause of the fire was due to a discharge of atmospheric electricity near a gas leak on the ship's surface.